Hey guys, what's up? I'm your local lunatic here, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys my Masked Heroes deck profile for the July 2019 format. This is being recorded right as Battles of Legend Heroes Revenge is becoming TCG legal, as we now have it both legal and playable out on both IRL obviously, and of course the online servers like Dueling Book as well. Alright, so with that being said, let's go ahead and hop right into it. First off, 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joy Spring. The best hand trap we have legal in the game. I wish Maxi would come back to like 1, just so we could test it and see if it would be okay. But I mean, this is like the next best thing. It really is. The amount of negation properties that this singular card gives you for just 3 slots in your deck is way too good, and you should always be running it in any deck you have playing. Next up, we're playing the lone copy of Attack Gainer. This is purely because we want to go into Notoria Beast, and that beast just shuts off spell-oriented decks. Sky Striker actually is a relevant deck that comes to mind, even though it might get neutered from the Forbidden Unlimited list soon. Next up is the meme himself, Elemental Hero Stratos. So he was actually released from the ban list a couple lists ago, but I actually really like this card. Obviously, he's literally the archetypal Stratos of the deck. See what I did there? Okay. So when he's normal or special summons, you can activate one of these effects. So you can either destroy spell traps on the field up to the number of other hero monsters you control, or you can add 1 hero monster from your deck to your hand. You're pretty much always going to use his second effect. You're not really going to be popping back row with it, but you can always just use Twin Twisters or something like that if you really want some back row removal. Outside of that, we're running the 3 copies of Elemental Hero Honest Neos. This guy has saved me more times than I could possibly give him credit for. So basically what he does is he's sort of like an archetypal Honest. So as a quick effect, you can discard to target 1 hero monster on the field, and it gains 2500 attack until the end of this turn. And then he also has the same effect, only slightly different for when he is on the field. Quick effect, you can discard 1 hero monster. This card gains attack equal to the discard monster's attack until the end of this turn. You can only use each effective element or hero on a Neos once per turn. So, I do like that he's sort of an extra battle trap you can use, or just if you want to like make sure your monster lives to fight another day, or sort of help your Dark Mist get along, you can do that. Next up is the 3 copies of Elemental Hero Bubble Man. Obviously taking inspiration from Batman, in case you couldn't tell. So, there's really only one reason we're running Bubble Man, and it's the same reason we're running the Miracle Fusion and Double Volley. That's for the 3 Ab-Zeros, in case we want to board wipe the opponent. But if we don't want to do that, we can just mass change him into an acid and blow up the back row, and then we can neg the attack of the opponent's monsters. So that's really good. I just like having the versatility of blowing up all monsters, all spelling traps, just depending on what I have in my hand or what I feel like doing. So anyway, he does have an effect that you'll pretty much never resolve. So if this card is the only card in your hand, you can special summon it from your hand, and when it is summoned, you can draw 2 cards. However, you must control no other cards and have no cards in your hand to both activate and to resolve this effect. Yeah, this is probably the least used / least resolved effect in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! I mean, outside of GX anime, which of course, it's always gonna work, but you know, anyway. 3 copies of Elemental Hero Shadow Mist, obviously. This card is pretty much the heart and soul of the deck, what makes it run. So if this card is special summoned, you can add 1 change quick play spell card from your deck to your hand. I'm not even gonna like, there's no other option really. I mean, you're just going for mass change. Like what else is there? Okay, hang on. Let me just see real fast. What even else? What else even is there as a quick? Oh yeah, that's right. There's form change and mass change too, but that's dumb. Yeah, no, that's just. I mean, I've seen like form change run in a total of like two lists that are very awkward and like focused on some sort of weird OTK variant, but I don't really like that. It's dumb and it clogs up too much space. But anyway, um, and then if this card is sent to the graveyard, now, I cannot believe how amazing this card was for the time it came out. It says if this card is sent to the graveyard, hand, field, doesn't matter. It could come back to the graveyard from the banish zone and it would still get the trigger. And you can add one hero monster from your deck to your hand, except Elemental Hero Shadow Mist. You can only use one Elemental Hero Shadow Mist effect per turn and only once that turn. So that's the biggest reason that Shadow Mist is so limited in its potential because of that last line of text there. If you could use both effects once a turn, like you could with Honest Neos, then this card would be so much better. But of course, for the time it came out, they had to put that restriction on it. Next up is 3 copies of your main normal summon target, which is Elemental Hero Solid Soldier. So this guy is basically just an on-summon special for Shadow Mist, which gets you access to your chains, which gets you access to Danklaw. You know how it goes. If this card is sent from the monster zone to the graveyard by a spell effect, you can target one hero monster in your graveyard except Elemental Hero Solid Ogre, and special summon it in defense position. You can only use this effect of Elemental Hero Solid Soldier once per turn. So, I mean, technically, you could just use this to make Diane, which I actually am running. But, well, I guess, I mean, he looks like a male, so I guess Ian, but, um, I don't know. It seems weird because there's just no real reason you would use mass change on this instead of Dark Law. I mean, not Dark Law, excuse me, Shadow Mist. And, Dian is just not a very good card. I mean, he specials from the deck, which is okay, but he doesn't really do all that much to warrant you wasting a target on it, basically. So, yeah, just stick with normal summoning him to special Shadow Mist. If you open Shadow Mist and Soldier, you basically have your full combo. I mean, or you can also just get something like Rhoda or E-Emergency Call, like any. I mean, it's almost impossible to brick with this deck, which I know it sounds like a lot, uh, um, to say, but I mean, really, there are so many cards that either get you these cards or fetch them, or fetch cards that can fetch these cards. It's almost impossible for you not to see the cards you need. And finally, for the monster lineup, we're running 3 copies of Vision Hero Vion. So this is sort of your backup normal summon target. When this card is normal or special summoned, oh, it says if, but isn't there like some ruling change? Is that OCG or is that TCG now? I know it says there's some. I know there was like some ruling somewhere where it said if effects are now when effects. I believe what that's meant to do is just take out the. I actually don't really know, honestly. That's just surprising. Um, I don't really know why they did that, but anyway, I'll look at the PSCT guides later. But anyway, you can send one hero monster from your deck to the graveyard. Obviously, you'll be targeting Shadow Mist. Well, I mean, you're not going to be technically targeting it, but you know, you're going to be dumping it. You can only use this effective Vision Hero Vine once per turn. And once per turn, you can banish one hero monster from your graveyard to add one polymerization from your deck to your hand. So that is actually, I can't believe I'm saying this, but that's actually pretty useful because, especially since you're only running 2 poly to conserve our deck space, that's, I mean, that's actually very useful. It really is. Um, you'll only use it once a game, if that, but it's very nice to have just as sort of an extra option in case you really do want to make the ab 0. Moving on to spell lineup, however, we have the 1 copy of Monster Reborn. I actually don't really like the OCG artwork, but this is just what I was given when I imported the deck, so, Um, this can just get you your Shadow Mist effect. This can get you an extra link material, just whatever, really. Foolish Barrel, this is just to dump the Shadow Mist again. I wish I had the other artwork. Rhoda, fetches. Hero Lives, fetches. I don't know why they don't just go ahead and unlimit this, to be honest. I mean, like, it's dumb, dude. It costs you half your life points. Raigeki, um, it's kind of dumb, but, I mean, at least it's non-targeting, so I just want to try it. Just because one time I did have a good blast using it to board wipe my opponent, and they were just sitting there like, naughty. So, it's good times. One Miracle Fusion. I decided to go at one Miracle Fusion double poly instead of triple polymerization. The reason I decided to do this is I actually sort of like banishing instead of having to, like, use it from just, my, standard targets of my hand and or field. Whereas with Miracle Fusion, I can do it from my graveyard. And that actually is pretty surprisingly effective because that gets you a lot of different synergies, like with different cards that might be, I don't know, you just might come up against, so I really like it. Next up is another searcher in the deck, which is E-Emergency Call, just your archetypal Rhoda for the deck. It's just amazing. 3 Called by the Grave. This card, I don't know why I don't see it played more often. This is absolutely amazing. Basically, you just use this and it completely gets rid of any hand trap that you would have pestering you during your turn. 3 Mass Change. This is what makes your Dank Law and just what really sets up all your plays. And I don't really need to explain this, do I? I mean, it's Mass Heroes. And in Mass Change, okay, so I don't think that many people actually run Mass Change, but I actually really like it because, and maybe back in the day, like prior to Link format, it would have been alright to like cut this. But I think especially with the nightmares out now and how prevalent they are, I feel you should at least run 1 or 2, so that way you can have like sort of an extra hand restock available whenever. Because the nightmare monsters discard as cost, so you can always basically ensure that you have their effects ready to go whenever you want. For the side deck, we have the 3 copies of Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood. This is actually something I intentionally set up here for a little discussion. So I think this actually won someone a game in time at the European the European WCQ. Basically, what happened was game 1 and 2 went however, it just went by. And in game 3, time was called on the round. And so, because the new time rules, well, they're not new, but because the time rules in Yu-Gi-Oh! Are just so fantastic, he was going to summon something, and so he used Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood, gained the life points. The phase, not the turn, the phase ended. He had more life points because Ghost Sister and Spooky Dog were activated, and that won him the game. And so that's dumb. They really need to fix those time rules. That's just, I mean, it doesn't necessarily. I don't want to say. I don't want to necessarily say it promotes cheating because that's a pretty pessimistic look on it. But there's a lot of things that's wrong with those time rules that I feel that would be just better off if, like, because obviously if you give someone 5 turns, that's a bit too much, right? But I feel you could just, like, let them finish a turn, not just a phase. But anyway, yeah. So outside of that, or like, even just a battle phase, I feel would be pretty good. Moving on, we have 1 Judgment and 1 Warning. Judgment, I don't really like that much. I used to really like running it just because, oh yay, hype, it was off the ban list, and oh yay, it was able to like negate anything. But half your life points really is a steep cost because More often than not, you're going to be using them towards the beginning of the duel, or at least that's when I'm getting them in my hands most times. And I mean, realistically, 4,000 is just way too much life points he's dumping into a single resource that can just get negated because it's cost. So, no, just no. What I would recommend doing is switching out the three dogwood for triple Lancia, and I guess get rid of these two for like twin twisters. You could honestly even get rid of the third copy of acid if you want for the third twin twisters. Um, Three evenly matched just because I like siding it for when I go into game two. If I win or if I lose game two, and then if I lose game one going into game two, and then I win game two going into game three, I'll side it in, and then I'll just have sort of a one card out to pretty much any board. Because I mean, if it gets negated, it's a pretty feel bad moment, but outside of that, it really does wonders. Three Solemn Strike and three Infinite Impermanence just because it's negation, and in the case of Strike, it actually destroys it. I'm starting to turn away from the whole aspect of paying all these life points just to negate stuff. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm like I don't know. I'm just not starting to like it as much anymore. But I'm still trying to give it a shot. As for the extra deck, the aforementioned that beast, pretty good. DN, whatever. Double Acid and triple Ab Zero, pretty nice. Triple Tanklaw, Nightmare Phoenix, and Nightmare Kieran. Nightmare Griffin as well. So you can sort of just have at this any way you want, whether you want to switch out the places of Griffin and Acid or just keep it like this, whatever. I just feel like it's pretty cool to keep as a little one of in case you ever do want to go into it. It's just pretty nice. And one bowl low and one bowl sword, just because they're pretty staple lane fours. Alright, so that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for my deck profile. Thank you all so much for watching. I've been your host, your local lunatic, signing out. See you guys next time.